Hello, my name is Sarah Eve, and I'm a scientist here at the Scott's Miracle-Gro Company. Today, my colleagues and I are going to be talking to you about compost, specifically 3 different types of compost. So compost you can use in your landscape, compost you can use in your garden, and compost you can use to add fertility to your containers. So in front of me, I have a small demo to give you a quick preview of each. In this demo, I have tomato plants potted into 3 different composts, with and without the addition of fertilizer. This front row is without the addition of fertilizer, this back row is with the addition of fertilizer. So this first compost, you see it is actually pulling nutrients away from the plant. Even with the addition of fertilizer, you're not getting good growth. So this compost is an example of a compost that should be used in your landscape gardening. The second compost, though it's not providing nutrients to your plant, it's also not pulling away nutrients. And once you add in fertilizer, you're getting great plant growth. So this is an example of a compost that should be used to amend your gardens. Our final compost is a high nutrient compost. As you can see, even without fertilizer, it's giving you great plant growth. So this is an example of a compost that can be used in your containers to provide added fertility. Each of these agricultural applications has limits on the different properties of these composts, such as its pH, its CN ratio, maturity, stability, odor, color, particle size. Myself and 2 other scientists from Scott's Miracle-Gro are going to go over each of these 3 types and explain what makes them unique and how to use them to make your landscape gardens and indoor spaces more beautiful.
Hi, my name is Daisy, and I'm a biologist at Scott's Miracle-Gro. Today, I would like to talk with you about the benefits of using compost in your landscape. Regardless of your native soil type, compost can help you better manage your water inputs, which ultimately allows your landscape to utilize nutrients more efficiently. Plus, your yard will be more immune to erosion. So why do you think we want to prevent erosion? Well, erosion removes native topsoil, which contains essential nutrients and organic matter, which are super important to supporting vegetation and plant life. If erosion is left unchecked, this can lead to completely infertile land that is void of topsoil. So, let me first illustrate 2 basic soil types and their ranges in particle size. On one extreme, you have 100% sand. On the other end, 100% clay. Based on these scaled up examples, you can understand that these soils are classified based on, you guessed it, their particle size. So, based on these visuals, how do you think compost additions are going to help? Well, let's find out through this pour-through demonstration in my backyard laboratory. First, let's start with sand. In this bin, you have 100% sand. In this bin, you have sand that is cut with compost. Now, sand, having almost 0 organic matter and extra large particles, actually makes the material more susceptible to water leaching through the column. Adding compost, though, helps boost the organic matter content and the material's overall water retention. Now, let's look at clay. On this side, you have 100% clay, and on this side, you have clay amended with compost. In the 100% clay mix, on the left, the particles are very fine and sticky, which leads to very poor infiltration. You can see water actually pools on the surface, making it more susceptible to surface runoff. Once you add compost, though, you actually improve water infiltration and overall soil structure. So I want to leave you with this. Compost addition in these 2 scenarios actually had very opposite effects, but both are super beneficial for plants as well as for the environment. Happy amending, everyone!
Hi, my name is Tara, and I'm a scientist at Scott's Miracle-Gro. I want to tell you about why and how you should use compost in your garden to create a beautiful outdoor growing space. By adding compost to your soil, you are adding organic matter, which alters the physical, chemical, and biological characteristics of your soil. You want the compost you are using in your garden to be stable, mature, and actively managed through a PFRP cycle to kill pathogens and weed seeds. You also want this compost to be screened to provide a small to moderate particle size, have a pH range of 6 to 8.5, a low to moderate EC, and a C to N ratio of less than 20. The first couple of years that you incorporate compost into your garden, you want to add 2 to 3 inches of material on top of the soil, and if possible, till to a 6-inch depth. You will lose some of this material every year through decomposition, but not all of it. So when you have built up a good base of organic matter after a couple of years, you can back off the level of incorporation to 1 to 2 inches yearly, or an application schedule of every other year.
Hi, it's Sarah again, and I'm going to talk to you about adding compost to your containers. So adding the right compost to your containers can actually provide nutrients for your plants. As we saw in the beginning demo, good compost will actually feed your plants. On top of this, good compost will actually work with the fertilizer in your container mix already. Compost is a great reservoir for beneficial microbes. Those beneficial microbes will break down that fertilizer and release it in the soil for your plants. Lastly, a very good thing about compost is it actually increases the nutrient holding power of your container mix. So by adding compost, you're going to make sure all those vital nutrients stay in the pot and don't leach out. So what type of compost should you use in your containers? You want to use highly cured, stable compost free from weed seeds. Immature compost can actually release ammonia, which can harm seedlings, as shown here. Immature compost can also steal nutrients away from your plant, which is only going to be exacerbated in a container setting. To ensure this doesn't happen, make sure you're getting stable and mature compost and purchasing it from a reputable source. Now, when adding compost into your mix, make sure you don't exceed 25% of the overall mix. Too much compost can actually be a bad thing. It can cause your mix to become waterlogged and stay too wet, not allowing good aeration for root development. Hopefully, you now have a better understanding of the different uses of compost in your garden and landscape. If you're interested in using a Miracle-Gro product for your indoor and outdoor gardening needs, check out Miracle-Gro Performance Organics Container Mix and In-Ground Soil. Both are powered by high-quality, high-nutrient compost.